Hi, Ann Judd here from Railside Report, and we're delighted to be interviewing Mickey Hegg. We're sitting here in the Corporate Sponsors Lounge at the Scottsdale show here in February. And Mickey, welcome here.
Thank you.
Mickey is the Youth National Show Commission Chair, and she is also the past president of what we call here AHA, which is the Arabian Horse Association of Arizona. So you wear a lot of hats, Mickey, right?
Yes, always have.
And interesting enough, she's sitting at her table. This is her very special job this year as sort of the meet and greet person in the Corporate Sponsors Lounge. So what does that job entail, Ms. Mickey?
Well, it entails, like you said, meeting and greeting the corporate sponsors, some of whom are horse people already, and then there are others who it's their first time and they don't really know about horses at all. So I get to explain to them what's going on, and they're very interested in it, and they like it. They feel like they want to be a part of the show, and they like being a corporate sponsor, and they're glad to be asked, and I think that's wonderful, and we're glad to have them.
Well, it's unique to this horse show how well the corporate sponsors are treated, your sponsors are treated, I find. And what are some of the perks of being a sponsor here?
Well, for one thing, they get to meet each other, and we have a big lunch for them every day, full hot meal, and they come in at lunchtime for about 2.5 hours. They enjoy visiting with each other. They get acquainted. They get leads to each other for possible business.
It's a little networking.
It's a networking situation that's very close and integrated, and they like it a lot. They make new friends. They look forward to next year. They talk about we're going to be back. And I think that's very important to this industry as a whole, that we continue to keep the ones we have and gain some new ones as well.
This Youth National Horse Show for the Arabians and the children 17 and under is held where?
It's held in Albuquerque every year. It started in 1993 in Oklahoma City. We were there for about 7 years, and then we moved it over to Albuquerque, which has a little bit better weather that time of the year in July and early August.
Okay, so this year's dates are
25th of July through the 1st of August.
And I'm sure you want everyone to come.
Oh, we'd like to invite everyone to come. I don't think until you see Youth Nationals and realize how talented these riders are and how good their horses are. It's just amazing. I mean, it is a tough competition.
So all the riders, we're talking about approximately how many horses?
We look to around 1,000 horses. We've had as many as 1,100. We've backed down to around 950. And so you go with what you have, because we are dealing with age groups, and children graduate out of Youth Nationals. It's not like a regular Nationals where you can continue going year after year. So we're dealing with ages and who has children and who doesn't.
Now, you have a wonderful charity there that's unique to children. So tell us a little about it.
It's the Children's Cancer Fund of New Mexico. And I think that has a lot of appeal. Whenever you see a sick child, it just is heart-rendering, you know. Sure. And they often come out and bring some of the children with them. So it's nice to see that some of them are available, you know, to enjoy the horses.
Now, you also are a judge in the Arabian division.
Right.
So that was another hat you wear.
Oh, yes.
Which is fun. Tell me, what breeds did you start with as a child?
Well, I grew up on ranch horses and American quarter horses and saw my first Arabs at the first All-Arabian Horse Show.
Really?
That was at the Arizona Biltmore Arena, and it was held there for 2 years, and then it moved over to Ann McCormick's Pima Road Ranch. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've heard about it.
After she died, it was purchased by Kaiser Aetna, and they maintained it as a horse park for 10 years. And in 1978, it was the last show there. Well, it's here now because there's really no place else that can handle
this big
the numbers.
Yeah. So overall, how many horses?
2,300.
2,300.
That's a huge number.
And then I remember the figures last year, the 240,000 paid attendances,
yes,
which is just novel for any show. The Scottsdale show is tremendous. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your input in this horse show. And I understand in 1981, you somehow kind of got finagled into, as a lot of us do into these jobs, into being the chair of this show.
That's right.
And what did you do that helped put this on the right path that you think would help? Maybe good advice for other chairmen.
Well, I think one of the things that happened was we encountered a slight rainstorm, maybe more than one. It wasn't the worst year. The worst year was 1983. But in 82, we had significant rains that kind of put a damper on things. And rain in this area can absolutely just destroy everybody because you're basically outdoors, or you were at that time. And we were bending over backwards to help the exhibitors. We were hauling in gravel, spreading it around. They saw the effort put forth by the show committee, and they just felt like they wanted to be there, and we grew by over 600 horses the following year. I mean, it just leapt ahead. Those are your customers, and you have to show that you enjoy having them there, and they liked being there. And of course, by the time the show was over, it wound up, the sun was out, the mud holes were dried up, and everybody was happy. So they came back in droves.
Now, the commercial vendors here, that is also unique, and I try very hard to stay away from all of that because it's a very expensive venture when you go in those
no, you shouldn't stay away.
Oh, I know I shouldn't, but I should personally. But they are just remarkable. And I understand you have a waiting list.
Oh, yes, yes. It started back at the old Paradise Park, the first one on Pima Road, and there was a lady named Anna Bess Joder from Colorado, and she drove down with sketches and pictures of Arabian horses in the trunk of her car, and she wanted to know if she could open her trunk and sell these pictures and a magazine called the Arabian Horse News out of the trunk of her car, and that was the start of the commercial vendors. And they allowed it to happen, and the next thing we had a man selling bits, and he wanted to set up, and he worked out of his truck.
So it looks like about an acre worth of
at least
of vendors of all kinds of
vendors, and they're outside vendors.
Not just horsey things.
No, there's everything from furniture to furs.
Yeah.
It's just hard to imagine, and it's unique.
Shopping. It is unique. It's a wonderful, wonderful spot. Well, the last thing I'd like to talk to you about is your home in Ireland.
Oh.
Tell us a little bit about living in Ireland and why.
Well, being a First Families of Arizona person means that your ancestors came to Arizona prior to the change of the 19th century. And so here we are growing up in Arizona where it's dry and full of cacti and all these things. I always liked green grass and trees, and I always wanted to go to Ireland, because that's where the ancestors came from. So when I retired from my job, I packed up and headed east. We have an average annual rainfall there of 84 inches a year.
Oh my.
Versus 7 inches here. It's a soft rain. It's just mist-like, but it does accumulate, and you never have to irrigate.
Wow.
Which I was grateful for the water here, but over there it's done for you. God takes good care of you.
You said a very mystical country.
It is. It's a very spiritual, and you realize it when you get away from the cities. And I live up on a mountain range called the Sleeve Bloom Mountains. It's all forestry, and you watch the fog roll in through the valleys, and it's just incredibly beautiful. And the grass just grows, and the horses get fat.
Now, you took Arabs there, your own
Yes.
horses,
Yes.
and the numbers are growing by leaps and bounds. So
Yes,
I guess we have mares and stallions.
and then I acquired a few more horses in Poland, and I'm breeding and trying to sell one occasionally.
And you're telling me you're promoting a bit.
Yes.
That they really aren't as widely accepted in Ireland and England.
Well, they're basically not real familiar with them, and I have gotten some classes into a couple of local shows. And so the people have come out. The spectators came out, and they were quite surprised that there was so much interest in people standing around these rings that they erect overnight. It's just like a tape on some little posts that they put up. Yeah, exactly. But it works, you know.
Sure.
And the people are very interested in the horse, those who have seen them, but a lot of them just have never seen them, don't know anything about them. Even though that was where the thoroughbred horse was developed with the first 3 foundation sires.
Mickey, you've done a wonderful job and always made everybody feel at home here. It was one of my first people to meet when I came to Scottsdale.
That's right.
And I count you as a dear friend, and I hope to see you again, maybe at Youth Nationals.
Oh, I hope you come,
I think that would be wonderful.
I think you'd enjoy it.
We could talk for hours, I think, but maybe we better end it on this note, and I'll let you get back to work. Thank you so very much for doing the
Thank you for
interview
coming
with us.
by.
And thank you. This is Ann Judd at Railside Report with Mickey Hegg. Bye.